Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Lounge podcast with your hosts, Liz and KT. And we're back, you guys. I have missed podcasting so much, honestly. I have no one to yap to. Like, I've been posting on my YouTube, but I'm like, bro, but like, I feel like I have more to say that, like, you don't want to be yapping in a YouTube video. So I'm so glad we're back. I'm so glad I get to have these weekly catch ups with Elizabeth again. So I hope you guys enjoyed the break. I know we had a lot of life happening during the break, and I think we all feel rejuvenated today.
Yes, exactly what Kennedy said. Honestly, I feel like we've just been yapping to each other on text messages, and it just doesn't hit the same as having like an actual conversation with each other. So we are so excited to be back, you guys. Honestly, that like month break felt like I don't know, it felt like the whole year to me. I don't know. It felt so long, but we're so happy to be back. And yeah, first things first though, you guys. Let's like talk about some housekeeping. We are going to be switching up some formatting to the podcast. We wanted to start fresh, start new, try out some things, test things out. Specifically, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you will see that we have headphones on. So we're going to try to have like more like conversations, just a different way of like filming and everything. So make sure you guys let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking of this episode. Do we like it? Do we not like it? Give us all the feedback that you guys have for us.
Yes, and we got rid of our segments as well for the most part. We're still gonna have like an intro, and that's basically where we're gonna talk about like anything, except we're not gonna like split it up. It's just like whatever we're feeling this week, just to, test it out just to see. And then we'll always have our main topic. So again, let us know. And if I look confused for a bit while Elizabeth was talking, if you're watching, that's because my Wi-Fi was acting up and I was like, wait a minute, but we are back and good. So I just wanted to point that out.
So without further ado, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the episode. So first, we're just gonna, catch up with you guys on what's been going on because it has been a month, and like Kennedy said, there has been so many changes for actually both of us. So we're really excited to talk about them with you guys.
Yeah, we're both working girls now. Well, technically I haven't started, but Liz has started. But yeah, for me, lots of major life changes in like a short amount of time, which honestly I was not expecting. And I guess that's good, but like the Gen Z part of me is like, "Ugh, I just want to have fun. Like I just want to party, not really party, but just like be lazy and have an unemployed summer." But I ended up getting a job. I can't remember where I was in the job searching process when like the last time we recorded, but I ended up getting a job. I'm not gonna say like exactly what it is, where it is, but I am gonna be working in marketing. My official title is social media and marketing coordinator, and I start the 29th. So when this podcast goes up, I would have already had my first day. So I'm hoping future me had a good first day. And yeah, I'm a mix of excited and nervous. I'm like excited for to finally have a job. Because I know a lot of people are like still job searching, and I kind of like got one relatively quickly compared to like what I thought I was gonna like be waiting. And then I'm excited to have like the benefits. I'm getting paid good considering it's my first job with like no real experience besides like an internship and like a couple months of freelance. But then like the negative, of course, no one wants to work, even if it's a job you like. I think everyone would just love to be like something else or like just like get paid to like do whatever they want, you know what I mean? So but I'm still excited though to like get some money in my pocket so then I can like travel and stuff. So like that's my vibe.
Yes, I'm so excited for Kennedy because this is actually like her last week of being unemployed, you guys, of having that like stay at home daughter vibe. Because next week, like she said, she's gonna be out and working, but we're so happy for her. Just because I know like how rough the job market is. So being able to find something like a month post grad and everything is so exciting. And I know that just like feels stress free. Like you can finally like breathe, and you don't have to like worry about having all these interviews and everything. So happy for you. And then my little update, you guys, with like job hunting and it, well, not job hunting, but just like job career stuff. I don't know. I have officially been living a month and a half now in Chicago, so that means I've been working now a month and a half. And you guys, I honestly truly like. I really like what I'm doing. I don't know. It's different every day. I made like a little list of points. So I'm gonna like glance on my phone over here and talk to you guys about just some like little highs and lows that I have for you guys. But I truly am loving the balance of the job. I feel like when I'm at work, I'm at work. And when I'm off, I'm off, like I'm not bringing work to home, which I think is honestly the best thing for me because I feel like that would just be really like, I don't know, it would be very draining on my mental and everything. So I'm really liking this. I have had, so my first like month and a half of flying, I have had lots of turns, is what they're called. So I've just been flying to places and then flying back to Chicago. I did have a fun layover, which if you guys are following us on Instagram, we did post some like weekly updates on what we've been up to. But I had a layover in St. Croix, which is one of the US Virgin Islands, and I thought it was just crazy surreal, and it was really like, wow, like this is my life, like this is like what I'm doing right now. And I was like really, really cool. And then I have been able to explore a little bit of Salt Lake City, Utah, which honestly, for me as a person who is very intrigued by the Mormon culture and everything, it was really cool to be there and like walk around and like see the Mormon stuff, I don't know. It was just really crazy. I was like texting Kennedy about it because Kennedy, like me, as you know, is just very like intrigued by all of that. I have been able to explore Austin and then, of course, St. Croix. And then I have had some interesting passengers, to say the least. For the most part, I've had like all good vibes and everything, but I have had one like intoxicated passenger. And then I have had people sometimes give attitude here and there. But for the most part, I've been really, really liking the job so far.
Yes, and y'all know me and Elizabeth, we love some Mormons, and we're some OG people that have been invested in Mormons. I feel like a lot of people got into the Mormon culture because of like Secret Lives and like people on TikTok, but like, nah. We were there back in the days when like Mormons were like all family vloggers on YouTube. Yes, that is our history.
Exactly. Back when everybody was like posting all these vlogs and they had like hella kids before, they were all exposed for being like terrible people and everything. But yeah, like I remember there was this one YouTuber, I can't remember her name. Low key might have been Sydney. I don't really remember. But I know me and Kennedy both watched her. And then when she left like the Mormon religion and everything, she kind of like did videos and like clips and everything, like not exposing, I want to say, but just like really being honest about her experience. And I know that was like, I don't know. I love anything where I'm like learning more about it. I think it's just so crazy to talk about. But anyways, that is besides the point, you guys.
Yeah, I remember that because I'm pretty sure like she got like divorced from her husband or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
because she got like married like right out of high school, like your typical Mormon and everything. And then she was in it for a while, and then it was just kind of like out of nowhere she got like divorced, and like yeah, and then everything happened. But you guys, if you are at all interested by that, you should just like look up like leaving the Mormon cult, the Mormon religion, Mormon culture. I don't know, on TikTok, YouTube, and there's so many like really good videos about them.
I thought you were gonna say leaving the Mormon cult, and I was like, yep, exactly that. But yeah, clock it. And then my next little life update is I got a car. Now, the car shopping process, that was a whole thing because I'm gonna expose my dad for a moment. So basically, like he tells like me and my mom to go car shopping, but then like he's very like strict. So it's like me and my mom were like, why are you telling us to look? And then all the cars we give you, you don't like. So finally he found something, and so then like we went to get it, and like I honestly was not picky about any other cars and stuff. I knew that I had like Nissan Kicks on my mind. Spoiler, that's the car I got. I got a Nissan Kick, and I knew like I had a certain range, and I was like, as long as I get a backup camera, I'm good. That's literally all I wanted was a backup camera, and especially because I knew if you have a backup camera, like you would have a screen, so I can get like other little features, but like backup camera was like my number one thing, and I was like, I genuinely don't care. But my dad ended up finding us a good Nissan Kick, and so then we literally went to like test it out. We saw it. My dad, of course, since he's a car expert, he drove the cars so he can like make sure it drives nice and all that stuff. And we got it. And car shopping, I probably car shopped for like what 3 days? No, 2 days. Wait, no. 3 days. So I'm getting all my days confused because like it was just Juneteenth. So I'm pretty sure we went on that day. My mom and I went the day before, and then the next day we went to one place, and that's where I found my car. And yeah, it's super cute. I've been driving it. I have driven myself 2 times by myself, both in the same day. Well, actually, no. Oh wait, yeah, duh. Sorry, I'm like getting confused on my timelines right now. I'm like getting back into like the podcast etiquette. We're trying to remember what I've done. But the day we got it, my mom wanted to drive it the first way because just to like, make sure everything's okay. And then we stopped because she had to go get a car. So we stopped at a store in the city called Versailles, which is like close to our hometown. And she got a car, and I drove from Versailles to our hometown, stopped to get some gas, and then went home. So like that was like a good test drive, just like get myself back into it. And then the next day I drove to the Dollar Tree just to get like hand sanitizer and little like tissues for my car. And then that same night, which was yesterday, I drove to Elizabeth's house because we watched Love Island. So I still get very nervous like leading up to like the drive, but I'm like, you have to force myself because like because I know once I do it, I'll be fine. And I'm gonna be like, why was I so nervous? You know what I mean? Like, just follow the rules of the road, go the speed limit, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I feel like that was like good for my confidence. And yeah, and I feel like really good in my car too because it is a newer model. It's a 2024. So it has like a bunch of like safety features, which I feel like takes a little bit of stress off of it. Obviously I'm still like attentive, but it feels nice to have like those extra like barriers in place to like keep you safe and like that like if you're doing something wrong, you're gonna get like something like your car is gonna tell you. Because with the previous car I was driving, it was my brother's passed me down, and it didn't have like any like no backup camera, no safety features. So I feel like I was in my head a lot of like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? But I'm like, I have like a car that's just like gonna help me out, help assist me. So I really like it. And then before I go to work, we're gonna do some test drives of me driving to the workplace because I'm gonna have to commute, unfortunately, an hour. Which honestly, I don't think that's bad. I feel like that's a normal commute. I'm gonna have to commute an hour both ways until I can save up enough money to get an apartment. But overall, I'm very happy about my car. My granny even went with us to pick it up, so like that was cool as well that she got to see it. But yeah, that's like a lot of life changes have happened to me in a short amount of time, and I'm like, wait, what's happening?
I literally feel like it's been like 2 weeks. Like within our break, it may seem like this happened all obviously it happened within the break, but I feel like within the break, it happened within a span of 2 weeks. So like Kennedy's been like up and going, crazy, crazy things going on for her. And then the other one thing that I want to talk to you guys about is living in Chicago. So obviously I've been working for a month and a half, so I've also been living in Chicago for a month and a half. And I'm also, if you guys are a fellow YouTube watcher and you can tell by my background, I currently am home, and this is actually my first time that I've been home since I like moved to Chicago and everything. So it's really nice being home and everything. But Chicago wise, I've actually been really liking living in the city. Surprisingly, question mark. I don't know. Like obviously, like when I visited Chicago, I do like Chicago. I liked being there. But obviously it's different visiting to like living in the city where you're visiting. And honestly, I've been really liking it. I've had like really good experiences just being able to like walk around. Everything's there. I think I kind of briefly talked about that before we went on the break. But then also, right now, it is like as we are filming this, it is towards the end of June. So I and Jill, we are locking in on apartment hunting, you guys, because we literally have like a month and a half till our lease ends at our current place, and we have to have a new place unless we want to be homeless out on the streets. So we are locking in on apartment hunting. Finally, like we have like an Excel sheet, kind of going, but we're starting to like schedule actual tours and everything. I found this place that I really liked actually. So like fingers crossed, you guys, that it works out. I'm going into this with like, if it's meant to be, it's gonna work out. So yeah, good vibes and everything, but we are actually like, grinding out now, and it is time to like lock in. We would just have like the bad habit of like getting bored apartment hunting, or getting like to a point where it's just like too much. So we'd go on Pinterest and like look at decor and stuff like that. Which it's like we're looking for decor for a place that we don't have. So like we need to actually like lock in on that. So that's a little life update on the apartment hunting search in Chicago for you guys.
Dare I say the Pinterest board, that's just manifestation. Sometimes you gotta take a break to, let the good vibes find you, you know what I mean? Because that's how I felt when I was like car shopping and job hunting. I'm like, this is like sometimes it gets overwhelming because it's just like so much to look at. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm tired of looking at all this stuff. Like, I'm bored. I don't like anything. So I feel like it's good to have a mental break.
I agree with Kennedy, you guys. We're going to look at it that way. We're just manifesting the perfect place that we want is going to come to us. But another little, like, just yapping session for you guys that we just have to talk about is Love Island, you guys. Both me and Kennedy have been watching Love Island very religiously. We are like up to date with it. We watch it when it drops at 9 p.m. for her, 8 p.m. for me. We are all caught up. And I know, like, by the time that this episode goes out, everything will be completely different, probably. I don't know, like, maybe some of these people are completely off the villa, off the island. We got new couples. But as we are filming this, we are in the midst of Casa Amor, you guys. And I personally, I am here for it. I am loving it. I finally feel like we are out of Couple Island and we are back on Love Island. And I am so intrigued. I'm just eating it up. There is some questionable decisions I feel like being made by certain people, specifically the men. But other than that, I'm truly, this is the reality TV that I need for the summer.
Yeah, we can just like talk in broad terms with you guys. But yeah, finally cost some more. I'm like, thank God, because it's so annoying that everyone was like so locked in from the beginning. And like this is my first time watching like Love Island like live. The previous two like US seasons I like watched like after a couple episodes built up, but before I even started Love Island USA, I have watched a couple seasons of Love Island UK, and I'm like that they're in the like in general they're vastly different, but like in the history of Love Island, like I feel like it's very kind of rare for a couple to like lock down, like be in their same couples from the beginning, and that was like honestly kind of like boring slash frustrating to watch, especially because like people will try to explore, but then someone gets mad. But I'm like, that's literally the point of Love Island. Like you guys have barely known each other for like a week, and you guys are already so locked down. But yeah, so I was so happy for Casa More, but I think what Casa More has showed me is that Trinity and Bryce are going to be the winners of Love Island USA season 8. Like they're just adorable. And I think, Casey, you're losing me. I was rooting for you. I really liked you in the beginning. I was like, I can't believe no one stood behind his door. Like, he is so funny. He's really attractive. But the energy that him and Corbin have been given in Casa More is not my vibe. I'm like, y'all are losing me. I never even liked Corbin in the first place, but I don't know. I just hope the girls, like the OG girls, kind of wake up. I feel like a lot of them need some waking up to do, and that they give these Casa boys a real chance.
Yes, exactly what my thoughts are the exact same as Kennedy's. Honestly, I loved the way that they played out like the Casa More intro, where it was like they all thought that they were gonna do the heart rate challenge, and then the way that they like surprised the girls, and obviously surprised the guys too. I think that they played it out perfectly, and I truly think that the producers did what they had to do, because if not, it would have been the most boring Casa Amor experience on this planet. Nothing would have happened. None of these, honestly, the guys I think would have explored. I don't think the girls would have explored, and I think it would have just been very frustrating to like watch as a viewer. So I am so glad that they like did it the way that they did it. And honestly, I feel like even like Ariana, she kept on like emphasizing like, this is Casa More, like this is, you guys have to explore. Like she was basically like babying them and like, you guys have to like get out of this couple mindset. And for me, it's the fact that like, yes, they are coupled up, but like none of these couples are like exclusive or like closed off, and then they're acting like they are. So I feel like as viewers, that was just really frustrating. But honestly, I think everybody's true colors are coming out, and like Kenji said, Bryce and Trinity are going to win it all, because the fact that they are both like crying and like truly like miss each other, that is what we needed to see. And I can't wait till like KC honestly sees that, because he was real quick to be like, you guys aren't the favorite couple, like you guys aren't even a strong connection, like sir, you're just salty that you don't have what they have. But yeah, I am so here for it, you guys. And we'll honestly see by the time this episode goes out, like what all has happened, because I feel like it could be a completely different villa.
Yes, let's just say I'm gonna put one little prediction, and we'll see if that's right by the time like this episode comes out. But I am going to hope that obviously Trinity and Bryce stay together, and then I'm gonna say Corbin and Kenzie, they're donezo. They're not making it out. Like Kenzie, people on TikTok were like, Kenzie said she would never talk to Zach again, and she really didn't. So they're like, she's definitely gonna stand 10 toes down with Corbin. When she said she wasn't talking to him ever again, she meant that. So I think, I think they're both gonna move like have their own thing. I fear Caleb, his position in the villa is going to be very. He may be sent home soon, because I don't know. I feel like he needs to explore more, in my opinion. And then I think Corbin's gonna come back with Parmita, whatever her name is, and hopefully Alana's gone. I think Zach and Kato honestly are gonna get back together, even though he was doing a lot. And Casey and Naya, I fear Naya. I'm scared Naya is gonna fumble Carl, but I feel like Casey is gonna bring back whoever, like whatever girl he's with right now, and then I feel like Anaya is gonna like end up fumbling or something, but I hope she doesn't. And then Melanie and Sincere, I don't know, I feel like Sincere is doing the same thing he kind of did with Soul in a way, where he's all lovey-dovey now, but then like once he's back in the villa, it's gonna be like, well, I'm gonna go back to Melanie.
My predictions are basically very similar to Kennedy's. I think that by the time this podcast episode is out, I hope, I pray Corbin is out of the villa. I swear, if Corbin stays and Caleb doesn't, what is going on? Because literally all of their reasonings for kicking out like Gabrielle and everything was that he was like basically a hoe, and he wasn't looking there for true connections. So let's apply that same energy to Corbin. Corbin, I hope better be gone by the time this episode is out. Also, Kinsey, I'm like over her. She can go too. Anaya, not gonna lie, she be pissing me off, and I do think my prediction is she's still gonna be in the villa, but I think she's gonna fumble Carl, and that's gonna be like the biggest fumble of her life because this man is literally like so far just green flags. I even think I saw like things on TikTok about his ex came out and was talking about him, and she said that he was like a great guy and everything. So I fear that Anaya is going to fumble him. Yeah, those are all like my predictions really. I hope that Kinsey and Corbin are out of the villa. Jen, honestly, I think before last night's episode, she would have been out of the villa, but I think she finally is meeting someone that she's gonna have a connection. So I think Jen's still gonna be around. But yeah, those are my Love Island predictions for Wednesday, which I think is July 1st low key. But anyways, next Wednesday's episode.
Yeah, probably. And then just some quick little random life updates for me that don't really fit a theme. I hit 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Yay!
So super excited about that. That was like my goal for 2026 was to hit 100. And now I'm at 101, so I'm like, now I need to figure out a new goal. So once I figure that out and then hit that, then I'll let you guys know. So I'm super excited about that because I know it just proves to me that when you're consistent on social media, that you will in fact grow. And it's like, I know 100 is not like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but I'm like, for me, like I don't even know 100 people. And I'm like, imagine being like a lecture, like you're speaking, and then you have a crowd of 100 people. Like that's like a lot of people. And then Olivia Rodrigo's new album came out, and y'all know I'm an Olivia stan, Olivia girl, so y'all know I had to talk about it. I mean, it's a no skip album. It's called "You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love," and I mean the album is perfection, and it tells a story. And honestly, I was shook because we all know I was like, Louis is going to be like holding his breath when this album comes out. But honestly, I feel like people are being pretty tame. I'm not seeing a lot of hate. I don't want to talk about this too much, but the tea is that he was recently spotted with a girl that I literally have been watching on YouTube since 2020, and I'm like, now that's some, I'm like, that's some tea. But I know Olivia has been dating as well, but I'm like, y'all better not send no hate to her or Louis because I love all three of them. Okay, like unfortunately, I do love Olivia, Louis, and Ava, and like that's okay. We can all love them at the same time. Like that's being mature. But I'm like, wow,
I
that's some tea.
think that the tea also, I just think it's funny. The parallels of like, he's now with a blonde girl, and last time it was also a blonde girl. I don't know. I think Olivia might have a little curse on her or something that they just, if they break up, they're going to end up with a blonde girl.
No, that part. But I love it. It's a no skip album. And I'll talk probably a little bit more about that during Song of the Week. We made sure to keep that one. But yeah, so I feel like those are all my like updates. Oh, and I've been watching lots of documentaries and like reality TV right now. So like that's my vibe right now.
Yes, and without further ado, we're gonna go to our only segment, you guys, song of the week right now. Yeah, so it's just kind of like the new vibe of the podcast. But I'll go ahead and go with my song of the week, and I think I've talked about this song in the past, but I don't know. I feel like it was just like the perfect vibes for the summer, also like my life right now and everything. But it is from the Lumineers, and it is "Life in the City." But this is, I think, honestly, has become my favorite Lumineers song overall. But here's my favorite part for you guys. And that is my song of the week.
Elizabeth is a city girl now, and I love it for her. Me next.
Who would have thought, you guys?
No, I've always saw Liz living in a city.
Oh, okay.
Elizabeth's face is like, huh? Me next, God, please. Rep in New
Mm-hmm.
York.
Look at her manifesting already, you
Right.
guys.
Just give me 3 years to establish myself, you guys. But my song of the week, Olivia Rodrigo, What's Wrong with Me, with Robert Smith featuring, and he's from The Cure, I believe, which is a band. I'm learning all these new things from all this album and stuff. So yeah, I really like it, and I think it's low key my favorite song in that album. I know people hate it; they're like, he ruined the song. I don't think so. I think they sound good together. So I'm gonna play like one of my favorite parts of it. Like their vocals together, it just sounds so good. And the song, I just love the sound of the song. I love the lyrics of the song. I love everything about the song. So go stream it.
And without further ado, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get into the main topic of our episode, which is actually a like book review. So basically, you guys, we want to give a shout out to Penguin Random House because they sent us an arc for a book. You guys, I think we briefly mentioned that we got an arc for this book when we got it in some past episode, but we finally read the book and everything, and we are so excited, you guys, because when we got this like email, I know me and Kennedy, we were like texting each other. We're like, is this like junk? Is this spam? Like, is this like they're trying to do something? This gonna be send us to some links or something? I don't know. We were really sus about it, but I don't know. We actually got an arc, which is so exciting. Just because if you guys have been following us from day one, this podcast kind of started out more of a like book focused podcast, and then we just kind of like have shifted to more like lifestyle, and obviously we still want to talk about books because that is like why we started this podcast. So I think it was just a really full circle moment to be able to receive an arc for a book. Honestly, it was very surreal to have that, especially because this book, I believe when we're filming it, the book isn't even out yet, you guys. It should, by the time this episode goes out, it should be out or very shortly coming out, but that's just like crazy that we have read this book before it's even been out. I don't know. That's just like so surreal as a fellow book girly. I'll let Kennedy tell you guys her thoughts about it.
Yeah, it comes out July 28th. So you guys have a couple of weeks, but hey, we're going to give you all the rundown, spoiler free, of course, and let y'all know like if it's tea or not. And yeah, I remember I was going through our email, and I was like, I'm gonna click on it, like read through it before, and I was like, wait, is this real? And then I sent it to Elizabeth, and like we checked out the email. I'm like, well, this is like a Penguin Random House email. And then Liz like checked it out. I was like, yeah, like this is literally the full book. And so we were shook, and like I'm shook because like we don't even have like 100 listeners, you know what I mean? Like we're a very small podcast. So I'm like, the fact that they found us is actually insane. And we entered our stuff, our information into the little website. So like hopefully we get more arcs in the future. But it was like very like surreal because like we both consume book content. So it's like, wait, like we see all these other people getting like arcs, but you just like kind of assume like, oh, once you get bigger, that's when you'll get arcs and stuff. But the fact that like we got this just like so early on is like, wow, that's crazy. People are noticing us. We are coming up in searches somehow, and we are feeling very grateful for that. But the book is called Fossil Feud by Maggie North, and this actually isn't like her first book. She has a couple other books that I am definitely going to check out. And essential me when I can't talk, but basically this book, the way they pitched it to us is that since we were fans of Allie Hazelwood, we would really love this book.
And they did not disappoint with that. When me and Kennedy, at least like when I saw that, I was like, Allie Hazelwood, say less. I love Allie Hazelwood books. They're just like that quick romance that you need. You can like speed through them. You never get bored with them from like start to end. It is just the perfect little romance book within it. And I specifically love Allie Hazelwood books because of the female main character. I feel like they're always like very strong female independent characters that are very like obviously like educated because they're all for the most part they're always like some STEM focused job and everything. So I said, say less, I'm gonna read this, and it did not disappoint, you guys. This book was truly, if you love Allie Hazelwood, you will love this book. It was also very different because it is following like a paleontologist, which is something I have never read about. Honestly, I don't really like know much about paleontology, but it was really cool to be able to see it. Not gonna lie, there were some parts in the book where I was like, I'd have to like reread something because it would be like very like paleontology like terminology and stuff, and I'm not very educated at all in like the process of finding a fossil and like discovering it and claiming it and all that other stuff. But honestly, like you don't need to be able to like understand the book and follow it, because the romance of the book, you guys, it speaks for itself.
Yes. So just to go a little bit deeper into like what the book is about. So we follow Ripley and what's the guy's name again? Is it Adam?
James
Oh,
Smithson.
James.
Adam is
Yeah.
from Allie Hazelwood.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. James and Ripley. So Ripley is like a paleontologist, and this is not a spoiler, but like she's more there's like two different sides of paleontology, and she's from like the private contractor side, and James is from the academia side, and the two have like a little bit of a past, you could say. Some feathers were ruffled, and James did something that Ripley was not a fan of. Like in the moment, she kind of read something the wrong way, and so we kind of like realized that like, oh, like there's like a slight enemies to lovers, but like I wouldn't say it's like full enemies to lover, but a bit of that. And essentially they come back in contact again, and so that's where we kind of see the relationship blossom. That's when the story starts, things like that. But I really love the two main characters. I thought like back to the Allie Hazelwood character, like, or comparison, like Allie Hazelwood just really knows how to write a good, strong, independent female main character, and I think Ripley was exactly that. I really just, I don't know, I just loved her character. I feel like Maggie North really gave like depth to these characters. Like I feel like I understood Ripley more than like just how she was in the story, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree with Kennedy. I actually wrote in my review on Goodreads. Shout out to our Goodreads and Fable. They will be linked down below for you guys. But I talked about in my review how I found myself relating to both Ripley and James, because they're both like super independent characters that don't want to ask for help, that like they got it all, especially Ripley. She's like, I can do it all. I can do it. Like, I don't need anyone's help. Like, she is very independent in that way, which I found myself super relating to very closely. So I felt like that was really cool to see two independent characters, because I feel like a lot of books sometimes will get one independent character and then a dependent character, but in this one we get two very independent characters that they have that like mindset, and you can see how it kind of like clashes a little bit, but it's also just like the way that you like notice how they care for people and everything. I don't know, I really liked that overall about both the characters. I think they were both super well written. Specifically James, you guys, yeah, he was the perfect like book boyfriend, in the sense of like he is that book boyfriend that notices everything, and that for me is like everything I need. I don't know if that's like acts of service, or I don't know what love language it is exactly, but he notices every single thing. And it would be like I would honestly be like kicking my feet, in the sense of like it would be a part in the book where I don't know, she does something, he notices it, but she doesn't realize that he notices it, and I'd be like, what is going on? But yeah, I absolutely love that kind of plot line. And then just the fact that there is, like Kennedy said, that like undertone of enemies to lovers, it just makes it so much better.
And I love how James, like, he is the definition of a yearner. Like, you look up yearner in the dictionary, and like James is there. He was just so like, it's the classic like, oh, she thinks like she's kind of like quote unquote hates him, but like we pick up that like he's like loves her so much, but like he's trying to like hold back. He's trying to, not let his feelings be shown. And I love how he like in a way, like he was like putting himself out of his like comfort zone and stuff for her, which I really loved. And I feel like they put like a different twist on his character that we don't usually see in like romance books. Like I feel like their dynamic was different. Like he was more of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like I feel like it was kind of switched. Like he was more of like the softer one, I guess you could say, and Ripley was more like, no, we're doing things my way, like more like dominant, I guess you can say, which I really liked as well.
And that is the perfect segue into the romance and chemistry between both of them, you guys. When I tell you guys, the banter and the tension between these two characters was elite. It was so good. It was so well written. Kind of just like what we talked about him, like he's obviously like cares for her, but he doesn't want to show it. But like he also like, you know, is super independent and everything. It was that right there is the perfect recipe for the perfect amount of tension between two characters where you're like, oh my gosh, can we like, you know, like get this together, you guys. But it was just perfect. It worked perfectly just because I felt like while they were both also independent characters, you could see how they balance each other out and everything, which I think is really, I don't know, I think it was really well written in the sense that you can see how that like banter or like that relationship between two super independent characters can play out in a romance book, because I feel like sometimes in real life everybody's like, no, like two independent people, like they're not gonna like work out and everything. But I feel like this book did a good way of like showing how it can work out, because it just like balanced out so well. I don't know if I'm like making sense.
And I love how this book, like Ripley and James, they just found themselves in some of like the most like rom-com esque situations, which I love. Like there's some like, I don't want to spoil, but like there's some situations that force them to like spend some time together for long extended periods of time, and I'm like, I love that. Like like just like their personality and just like the chemistry you can feel. It's like they're like fighting it, like they don't want to be together. Well, mostly Ripley doesn't necessarily want to spend a lot of time with James, but it's like there's these situations that like just force them to be together, and then it like forces them to have these conversations and things happen. I'm like, yep, round of applause. This is exactly how you write a rom-com romance type novel. Like this is perfect.
Emphasis on like the comedy part of like rom-com, just because I felt like Ripley's character also was like just a really funny character. Like James is kind of like more like uptight, more sophisticated. He isn't like from the UK, so he's very like more like, you know, like posh, I guess. And Ripley is like the complete opposite of that. So seeing how she would like call him out or like make fun of him and things like that, I felt like I was literally, what I was reading, I could see it play out on a big screen in a movie, like sitting down for a rom-com, you know. So I feel like it was a good way of transitioning that like the comedic aspect into a book, which I feel like is sometimes hard to do, you know. Sometimes it doesn't translate the same when you're reading on paper, but it just, I was like, there was many moments specifically during these like forced proximity moments where I was just like laughing, and it was just the perfect rom-com aspect of the book.
Yeah, the friends, like the little side characters, the friends of Ripley's and stuff, the people she worked with, they were really funny as well. I love seeing them like in the story, because you know sometimes you'd be like, ugh, like these side characters, like they're kind of annoying. But no, I really liked them, especially like the main girl that was like working with Ripley. I loved her, and like her grandma, I think it was, or her aunt or something like that.
It
I
was her
love that.
grandma.
Yeah, her grandma. I was like, yep. I don't know, just something about them. I just really liked it, and I don't know, it just added more to the story. And another thing about James that I really loved that I thought of when Liz was talking was that man stands on business. I feel like you wouldn't like think that in some certain situations, but like no, that is a man that stands on business when it comes to Ripley, and I love that. So if y'all love a man that also is like a little bit like possessive, a little bit, I don't know if that's the right word for like standing on
Also just like
business.
protective, I think he was so protective of Ripley, specifically towards the end of a book. There's like some things that unfold, and then just the way that he like jumps into action, like oh my gosh, like say less, you guys.
Yes, protective is the right word. Protective. I'm just like, yeah, writing notes for what I need in my future husband. Like just so good. But I guess we can transition into like things that like stood out to us about this book. And it wasn't until I finished the book that I realized that the book is set in like America. It's set in Montana. They're at like an excavation site in Montana, which just like the whole premise of paleontology that they were describing, I really like, because it was like a like the only like as far as I know about paleontology is Ross from Friends, and then like the fact that it's like dinosaurs and stuff. But like I loved how the book kind of like it was very good for like explaining like what this field is without it being like a science textbook, you know what I mean? Like it really like it was very informative and stuff like that. But it's set in Montana, and I just thought like that's the dreamiest setup. But then I realized like, oh, like these characters are not American. Like Ripley is Canadian, and then James is obviously British. So I'm like, well, like that's like a little detail, but I'm realizing like I think like all the books I read, the main characters are American, or at least one of them is. And so I don't know, I just thought it was interesting that like, oh, like it's set in America, but neither of the main characters are American. I don't know, that's just like a little detail that I was like, oh, that's so interesting, and I really liked it for some reason. I don't know.
For me, something that stood out was the part of the book where we just kind of like Kennedy said about like the science part, but specifically a big like plot of the storyline, which they talk about in like the back of the book, like the description. So this is no spoiler, but there is a lot of like academic integrity, I guess, like I don't know the right word, but like plagiarism, I guess, but in the paleontology field. I don't know if it's would be called plagiarism exactly. I don't know, but basically just like ownership of like work and academic work. There is a lot of like talk about this because a lot of the story is following how this affects like a lot of the plot of the story has to do with like just academic ownership of work and everything. So I feel like it was really interesting to see this how it played out and just like it opened up my eyes a little bit to the paleontology side of like how easy it can be to, you know, fake a fossil or like create something and just like say that like obviously oh like this existed like millions of years ago. You know, if you have like the right backing and stuff, like it's really easy to do. So I think it was really cool to read about that because it was something that I'd never read about or heard about. And then just seeing how it played out and everything was super interesting. And just like all the different levels of, I don't even know, of like not authorization, but of like validation, I guess is the word, of being able to validate if this work is authentic, if it's not, like who did it, you know, like all that kind of stuff. It was really interesting to see just because like going to college and everything, you hear about like plagiarism and everything, like, you know, like, oh, like, don't do that, like, don't do that. But like, you don't see like the full extent, I feel like, of how it can play out. So I thought that was really interesting to read about it in a romance book, you know, because like you wouldn't think in a romance book you would see that. So that's what really stood out to me about the book, I would say. Besides, obviously, James Smithson, he stood out to me so much, you guys.
That part. And then also like along the same lines like paleontology, just I always love like hearing kind of like the hidden struggles of women in like male dominated fields. Like of course in general, like being like a lot of these fields are male dominated, so it's like us females, like we, you know, we gotta do a lot, but to hear it specifically in such like a niche, you know, career field, I really liked as well. Just seeing like all the like obstacles against Ripley, and why she kind of has like what's the word, kind of like trauma, I from being on like the academic side of paleontology, and like why she's in the side that she is now. So I really like that as well. I feel like that really added to the story. Again, it taught me a lot. I'm like, wow, I never would have thought of this. Like, oh, like that's very like real. And so yeah, I really like that as well. And I think it was interesting too. I just thought of this of how they had like people from like two different sides of paleontology kind of like come together, and those be like the romance. I thought that was like that's pretty cool.
And now, you guys, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into our final thoughts of the book. Just like we're gonna go over our reviews that we put out on Goodreads and Fable, and then from there we'll just like kind of like deep dive a little bit more. But I gave this book a 4-star rating, and I said obviously I wanted to thank Penguin Random House for like giving us this arc because without them we wouldn't be able to do this. But I said, I love this book. It was the perfect quick summer romance to read. It was giving Allie Hazelwood vibes in the terms of the science plot in the best way possible. I found myself relating to the female main character and male main character in some ways and loved reading what they were going through. James Smithson in all caps. The man you are, I was obsessed with his longing from the very beginning to the very end. Perfection.
And then my rating was also a 4 stars. And you know, I think Penguin Random House, and while I did get early access, all opinions are mine. So my review starts with, dare I say, the best 2026 summer romance read. This is my first romance book of the year, and I was not disappointed. First, let's talk about the setting. Who knew paleontology could be so interesting? Having a story mostly take place in Montana was so dreamy, and I loved hearing the ins and outs of how the paleontology field works. Super interesting, and it didn't take away from the romance at all. It all blended seamlessly. The romance was romancing! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. As simple as that. James is the dream guy. My dream date, dot, 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 cute. Me laughing at my own review. He was the definition of down bad, and I ate it up. Ripley is such a strong female main character. I felt like I really got to understand her as a whole than just who Ripley is during the timeline of this novel. And then I guess I did have like one critique because, you know, even though we got this for free, we got to have our critiques. I had said, I will say there were 2 to 3 parts I felt were a little bit clunky when switching between the story and dialogue, but overall, very strong romance is the perfect summer read with a good amount of spice, and I urge everyone to add it to their TBR when it comes out.
So, you guys, basically, you need to read this book ASAP. Like Kenny said, I really do think it is the perfect summer romance because it is set in the summer. So, you get to see, like, I don't know, just something about reading a book in the summer that is set in the summertime. It just makes the vibes all around so much better, especially if, like, you might not be traveling too much or, like, you might not be going to this place. It just makes you feel like you've lived through the story and everything in the summertime. The tension, if you guys love a good romance book, this is the perfect amount of tension and longing. And just also, I feel like if you really like books where the guy does a lot of like just like acts of service, even the female main character, it's like, you know, reverse, they both do acts of service for each other, and just like being able to like notice the small things. Because I don't want to spoil obviously, but there's so many parts where like James specifically and also Ripley at some points, like they just get to know each other so well that they, without even like realizing it, they're like doing things for each other. And I absolutely will eat that up in every single romance book. So I feel like if that isn't enough for you guys to read this book, I don't know what is. But I really think it was the perfect pace for a quick summer romance rom-com vibe book.
Yeah, and it's like not a long book at all. I think it's like the perfect amount for a romantic book, and like we said, it's a perfect summer read. You can like follow it along, and like if you really want to do the research, you low key could just like follow it along like during like the actual dates that are in the book. I believe I'm pretty sure it ends in like August or something. But yeah, so it's like in the thick of summer. I like read it as in Kentucky we were slowly getting in the warmer days. So I'm like, this is perfect. It makes me want to go to Montana. If you're new here, our friend group, we have a list of all the 50 states we need to travel to, and Montana might be getting moved up. But I'm like, ugh, like it's just so good. And like you may think like paleontology boring. No, trust. It is so interesting, and the romance mixed in it, and this book I would say is also kind of like Guy Falls First. So if you like that as well, add this to your TBR.
Oh, 100% is Guy Falls First, and then like it takes a moment for the female main character to realize it, and it's like, where have you been this whole time? But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it to this point in the video, just a quick shout out again to Penguin. To wait, is it random? Penguin Random House?
Yes.
Okay, just a quick shout out again just to Penguin Random House for giving us the opportunity to read this arc, you guys. And we want to obviously thank you guys, our listeners, because without you guys and without us coming on here to yap to you guys and you guys sitting through our episodes, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts. Make sure you guys comment down below whether you liked this episode, the new format. What did you guys think? Let us know. We're open to everything you guys have to say because we are putting out this podcast for you.
Yes, any suggestions are welcome. Let us know if you want us to bring some segments back or you're just like, no, this is perfectly fine. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating review. The other stars don't matter, just 5 stars only. Make sure you are subscribed and following us on whatever platform you're listening/watching to us on, and follow all of our social media because it is always linked down below.
And it's so easy, you guys. All it is a click away. So make sure you guys are following us, and we'll see you guys next week on the Girls Lounge. And thank you guys so much for, still sticking through with us after our break. Bye.
Bye.